Hello everyone, good evening to you and welcome to another edition of The Police in You. I am Stan Gavaya saying thanks for joining us on tonight's program, tonight being of course the 29th day in the month of March, and it's the final Tuesday in the month of March as we continue with another interactive program where we do invite you to join us also on our social media platforms, which includes Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and you can even follow the conversation on our website at www.GuyanaPoliceForce.gy. And tonight we are going to be talking particularly about our learner driver program that is launched, where persons of course are going to have the opportunity to write their exams and be able to get their results at a far quicker time. Just before we do that, however, it gives me a great pleasure to say, for those of you who may not have known that what would have happened recently, the Guyana Police Force's acting commissioner, Mr. Nigel Hoppy, DSM, has proceeded on his pre-retirement leave, and the Guyana Police Force, all of its officers as well as inspectors and other ranks, wishes him all the best as he proceeds into pre-retirement. And in the interim, what has happened is that the acting deputy commissioner who is in charge of operations will now be acting as the commissioner of police. That is none other than Assistant Commissioner Mr. Clifton Hicken, and we do say kudos and certainly hope that you will serve well, sir. That is what is happening in terms of administratively within the Guyana Police Force, and information that we know that is important for you to know, and hence we share with you. Another issue that I just wanted to bring before we do get into our program, do remember we've got our 911 number that persons you can always call to report all crime and your traffic issues, and we will continue to appeal to you that you should only call the 911 number. Obviously, if it is that there are crime and traffic issues to report, and not based on pranks or not based on being mischievous or misleading. Because one of the things that happens is that if it is that you do call and you tie up the line, then someone who genuinely would like to make a call, report some matter of traffic or reporting some matter as it relates to crime, you're denying them that valuable help that they're reaching out for. We encourage also parents to ensure that you monitor your telephones at home, your landlines, and even your cell phones, and do not allow children sometimes to play with it and to make the prank calls or to make calls that are not necessarily serious. And the thing about it is, even if it is that what we've been finding is that some adults are doing it and just being mischievous, and you tell yourself sometimes that, well, I'm calling, I block my number and I'm calling the 911 number or whatever. Do understand that they will have your number, and very soon what is going to happen, not just the call back you're going to get, but if these matters persist, the Guyana Police Force will then be publishing those numbers that are making those mischievous and prank calls. So we are going to ask you again, and we appeal to you, let us, as we continue to make sure things work well in our country, use our 911 number for its intended purpose. Crime and traffic issues, and in some cases even for medical emergencies, if it is that you can't get through certain places. You know, some people, that's the only number they can dial at that point in time. And let me just reiterate, it is a free call. If you're calling from a cell phone, even if you do not have credit in your cell phone, you can make that call. there's no charge that is attached to that call. And I say that because just about a month ago, I would have learned when one of our national athletes got into an accident. They asked one of the civilians, the standers by, to make a call to 911, and the gentleman said, "I don't have credit. We're letting you know right now, whether you have credit or not, you're not going to be charged for the call to 911. So you can always be able to help someone in matters that really need the attention of the Guyana Police Force as it relates to crime or traffic. All right? Letting you know, you can put down this date on your calendar, the 24th of April. That's a Sunday, and we all are aware that due to COVID and for the last 2 years, the country was basically shut and a lot of restrictions were there. And now that we're going back to some semblance of normalcy, the Guyana Police Force is gearing up to bring one of your favorite programs, Gymkhana. You'll hear more about that as time progresses, and you'll see. So remember to follow our Facebook page especially, and all of our social media platforms for updates, because Gymkhana is definitely going to be back, and we're going to invite you to participate and enjoy all of the festivities and excitement that happens at Gymkhana. At this time, let's turn our attention right now to one of the things. Just recently we would have launched a video indicating to persons on our Facebook and our YouTube platforms, telling you about the procedure that the Guyana Police Force will be rolling out as it relates to the learner driver test. As we are aware, what obtains right now, however, the Guyana Police Force is seeking to more or less modernize things, and as such, here's what's going to be happening, where you can actually now go to the site, the Zara site that is identified, and you'll be able to write your exam. It's for an hour duration, and right after that you will know how you did, whether you passed or you failed, because you'll be given a preliminary slip. I think some of the confusion for some of the people is that maybe that slip that they got, well, it's their legal pass, and they could probably just go ahead and go with the next step of doing the practical. No, you cannot. And as such, right now it gives me great pleasure to remind you that we are continuing to modernize and make things easier. It's going to start off in Regional Division 4, which is in the Georgetown area, and eventually spread across the country. And so it will be faster, more timelier, and even more convenient for all of our road users, as we continue to appeal for all of you to exercise the 5 C's of road use. At this point in time, earlier today, as a matter of fact, we had a sit down with the traffic chief of the Guyana Police Force, Superintendent Ashram, who shared and gave us some more details about the learner driver program, which we are going to share with you now, right here on Policing You. Hello everyone, welcome to this tutorial on writing the Driver's Theoretical Program exam by the Guyana Police Force. This new way eliminates the waiting time that obtained previously for results after writing the examination. So first off, you will turn up to the center where you are scheduled to write your examination, and at the point of entry, present your identification documents, which will be verified by the welcoming officer. You will be escorted to the center, and depending on how many persons are being tested, you can choose where to sit, or you will be ushered to a seat. You should have no paper, pens, or electronic devices on your examination space, as this can lead to your being disqualified. On your computer screen, input your unique student identification and your password, which will then log you into access the learner driver examination. Once you open the exam, the welcome page will advise you of the duration of the exam, the amount of time you have to complete it, and an option to start. Click Start Exam Now and the time will begin to count down, but cannot be paused, so ensure that you are ready before clicking the button. Your examination has now started and all your questions are multiple choice, so read carefully and then click the circle next to your choice. If you wish to change your answer, you will be able to do so by clicking the Clear My Choice tab, which pops up immediately after you have made a choice. If you are comfortable with your choice, scroll down the page to your next question and repeat the same process. When you reach the bottom of the page, the Next Page tab is activated, which you can click to go on to the next. If you cannot answer a question and you leave it blank, you will be reminded of this in the top right hand corner of your screen, where the quiz navigation will show a gray mark for the question answered, and if not answered, the question remains clear. Keep an eye on your clock, and if you have time, you can go back to questions that you have not answered. Just before you submit, you will see a summary of attempt where you will be advised which questions you have saved answers for and which questions have not yet been answered. Depending on your time, you can go back or you can hit the Submit All and Finish tab, and a confirmation pop-up will appear with further instructions. Once you confirm finished, you will be logged out of your examination and your grades will immediately be generated to show how you performed. You can review and see all your correct and incorrect choices, and when done, press Finish Review, either at the bottom or the top right hand side of the page. Your final grade has now been generated, and you're advised that there are no more attempts you are allowed. Leave your exam space and approach the invigilator, who will present you with a printout of your theoretical examination results. Collect same and quietly exit the examination site. If you fail the examination, you will be required to pay a fee of $1,000 to resit in 1 month's time after your date of failure, if you so desire. The schedule for online examinations will be published shortly. The slip you collect is your preliminary results slip, which can be used to corroborate your official results. It cannot be used for sitting the practical part of the examination. The master sheet must be signed by the invigilator and sent to the traffic chief, who will issue your official results. Of course, on this program of the Police and You, we've got none other than Superintendent Mr. Ashram, the Traffic Chief of the Guyana Police Force, who's going to be able to share with us a little bit on what is happening in the traffic department. And as you are aware, the modernization of the Guyana Police Force is seeing a lot of departments being impacted. And Mr. Ashram is going to be talking to us today about one aspect of the traffic department, which is the learner driver program that is impacted. More recently, Superintendent, what has happened is that the Guyana Police Force would have announced through a video that persons will now be able to go to centers and be able to write their exams, and it's not going to be a long process. Tell us about how this is going to be happening.
Stan, good afternoon. Thank you for the time so that I could educate the public as it relates to the learner driver program and the new approach the Guyana Police Force is taking in this regard. With the modernization of the Guyana Police Force, it is imperative to transform the force from a paper-based approach to a state of technological advancement to aid in improving efficiency and effectiveness of the service it provides. The objective of upgrading the Guyana Police Force learner driver program to an online base is as follows. To ensure accountability and transparency in the application and certification process. To enhance the efficiency and effectiveness in training and distribution. And the scope is the policy applied to all certifying officers, the Information Technology Department, and training officers responsible for the delivery of the driver's license learner drivers program. Responsibilities, management. The primary responsibility for the implementation of the driver's learner program lies with the officer in charge of the traffic department, responsibly given to the officer in charge of the Information Technology Department for technical aspect of the system. And that is to say, we will continue to prepare the questionnaires, the answers, give it to the technology department, the IT department, and they will put it into the system before conducting the exams.
Okay. Now,
the officer in charge of the Information Technology Department is responsible for the maintenance and networking of the online system on a day-to-day basis. The OC of the IT department, in coordination with the force training officer, will be responsible for training rank and staff at traffic headquarters on how to use and care for the system. And as we speak, the ranks at traffic headquarters has already received this training. And the responsible of the traffic department, the traffic officer in charge at traffic headquarters, is responsible for ensuring that the system is updated at all times with the correct information in relation to examination required and question. As I mentioned earlier, we are responsible for the questions to be supplied to the IT department so they could put it in the system for the candidates to do the exam. The officer in charge of traffic headquarters are also responsible for reporting any error and malfunction of the system. And the procedure, the new system, the electronic system is you register online, you make your payment, write the exam, and collect your pass slip. With the implementation of driver's learner program, applicants are required to register online on the Guyana Police Force website under the driver's license section. Upon registration, applicant will have full access to all materials at no cost. The applicants must fill out an application form along with supporting documentations and select a date and time for which to sit the examination. Upon verification of personal information by the traffic headquarters, a confirmation email will be sent to the applicant with instruction to complete payment. The applicant must complete a form and make the relevant payment of $3,500 online via MMG, the bank, or police finance office. So you're still required to pay the $3,500 that you pay earlier for the package. A confirmation of the payment must be forwarded using thread email sent from the traffic headquarters. Upon confirmation of payment made, the applicant will receive a final confirmation stating applicant account ID, location, date, and time for examination. And the procedure for the exam: on arrival at the examination center, an invigilator or invigilators must be present to verify the student identification and confirmation slip. Student must log in the examination online as instructed by the invigilator with their account ID. Upon completion, student will receive their grade for examination. Students who would have obtained a pass must print the confirmation pass slip. Traffic chief or authorized rank on behalf of the traffic chief must sign the pass slip and return to the student. This order is for strict compliance. As I mentioned earlier, after you wrote the exam on the given date on the computer electronically, you will have a slip to say whether you fail or you pass. The list will then forward to traffic headquarters, where we will prepare your slips. Whether pass or fail, I will send them and have them post to the various addresses. And this will be very expeditious.
So let's get back to the actual writing of the exam and go through some of this, because one of the things that would have happened, traffic chief, is that we would have put out a video. Lots of people were saying, great initiative. It seems pretty straightforward once you study. And according to Devendra Moranji, she's asking, what is the pass mark? She says that she's recommending that a pass mark should be 75% or more, because it makes no sense that you are driving on the road and understand 50% of the rules and regulations. Then it would be more likely that you would cause an accident. But for Devendra, what would you say to her? What is the pass mark?
Well, at present the pass mark is 64. Our concern is noted, and it will be taken into consideration for review and possibly implementation.
Lots of persons are asking, since they saw this, they live in many of the outlying regions, and they want to know if it is that this is going to be happening at their location, and if it's happening at their location, where?
Well, stand as of now, the electronic exam will be only conducted at the Felix Ashram Police College at the Zara Center. Persons, candidates that purchase land and driver packet from traffic headquarters and breakdown, that is to say 4A, they are required to sit the exam at Zara Center, Felix Ashram Police College, and the first exam will be on the 14th of April. The outlying region where there is already Zara Center, those system will be put in place at a later date, and the public will be informed. But for now, persons who purchase candidates in the other regions will have to continue the usual 4-day tutorial, and the certifying officer, they will conduct the exams where it is invigilated by the passer from the Captain Faith. They will retrieve the questionnaire, the papers. After the exam, they will send it to the command, it come to we, then the passer uplift it and it mark, and the result post to you. But for now, the electronic exam is only at the Felix Ashram Police Zara Center for Traffic Headquarters candidate and breakdown.
And Christiana Passad is asking, so for persons who recently bought packages, they have to now wait until October. Would their time be pulled up?
Well, we're going to start the tutorial from the 4th of April onwards. And this is simply to bring every candidate forward after the exam date. We're going to conduct exam to facilitate these candidates on a daily basis, each working days, after tutorials. And the exam will be run 2 exams per day, from 15 to 16 and 16 to 17. So even though you buy a package and you have a date for August, you could come forward, attend the tutorial, and you will put on the list to write the exam the earliest date.
At an early date condition.
We want by April, all the candidates that purchase package for the year, all of them must take the exam before the end of April.
But that's providing they go through the tutorial.
Right, they have to go through the tutorial. As you go through the tutorial, we make the list and send it to the IT department for the exam to be conducted.
As you know, with anything, there are a couple of questions that we see coming in from other people, and one person is asking, whilst I know that is not so, I'd like for you to clear it up, Traffic Chief. Is if it is, they say, oh, you can go on the computer and do this. And you're thinking, well, yes, maybe I could sit at home and I can actually log into my computer and write this test.
Standing exam is not online. Is that you're doing the exam electronically, where you go to the Zara and you do your exam on the computer. You are still required to attend the tutorials.
What room would you say is there for corruption by the public who oftentimes seems to think that they, for example, what obtained before is that they went and they wrote an exam. They know to themselves that they pass, but then they receive a slip from your office saying that they failed, and they're told to go back to do a test. We know that with this test now, once you do it, immediately after you get that temporary slip, preliminary slip, right? How much of that kind of thing is eradicated, would you say?
Well, for candidate with this system, candidate will feel more comfortable as to the result. Because just after the exam, they will have the results, whether they pass or fail. Prior to this, where we post out the results and candidates are saying that they have given a fail slip and they told themselves they said it passed, those slips or those results are being prepared by the pastors from the Captain Faith. We only post it out. So what they provide to us, we just prepare the past paper and post it out. So from 2016 thereabout, when Mr. Prasad was commissioned, he implemented that system where the pastors, they conduct the theoretical test, they mark the paper, and they also supervise the practical test. But what I could say, the system was so lagging that the delay in the exam result was too long. So with the implementation of this system, it eases the time and ease burden from persons. You will be having your result ASAP, and there is no doubt of corruption. And persons fail and give a pass slip.
What would happen in a situation like that if it is, let's say, because it's being generated by the computer, so the system, everything comes over to you, but that person would have been given a pass slip when they left the exam room, and when they receive the final document from your office, it shows that they would have failed.
No, well,
what can they do?
No, well, let's give you the system. When the slip comes to us, we going to run to do it what we call a master list. Because remember, we're going to prepare a list with the names of the candidates who have to see the exams. So when we have the results from Zara, we're going to cross-reference it. So what we get from the Zara Center as it relates to your results, that is what your people are going to prepare it.
So no amount of cases or matters of what you would say wrong results. It eradicates the wrong results being given to people.
I wouldn't say wrong results. What happened at times, and this is before we implement this, the present system that we are using, when a candidate have any difficulties that it relates to exam result, whether they believe that they passed and they were given a pay slip, I implement the system where the pass have to come every Tuesday at 12 and we do a review. Because your questionnaire, we keep the questionnaire. And the pastor, yourself and the police do a review. And if after the review we realize that the pastor make mistake, the pastor will have to rectify the error. And if the person pass, we prepare a pass slip.
Alright. So this is one way of reducing our perception of corruption.
Right. So this system, this new system, will eliminate, not reduce, the system of corruption. Because you will be in front of your computer, doing your thing, and having your result there.
Yeah, because there's a part just before you submit where you get a chance to see. You review what your grades are before you get that printout. That happens. All right, which is pretty much awesome. But I think one of the things, Traffic Chief, that many are going to be anxious about. This obviously is only for Region 4A at this point in time. At traffic headquarters. How soon in the foreseeable future will Region 6, for example, Region 4B, Region 3?
Well, as I sit here, I am sure the Zara Center is at Kovanjan, that is Region 4C, and Borby is Region 6. So I will have to work with the force administration as it relates to the other regions. I want to believe that SK will have a Zara Center too.
Yes, in Region 2.
Right. So when we have those equipment up and running, and with the requisite IT staff, those systems will kick in right away.
What consideration will be made for those persons in the interim, or even once you will be fully at that stage, who are not computer literate? But they have to write the test. They have to go to a place, a site, and sit down and use a computer to write their exam.
Well, that will be a work in progress. We got to sit down and discuss what are the systems we're going to put in place.
Most likely, keeping them with the current system.
Right.
But would not be a burden if it is that we wanted to move away from the paper.
Right. Well, what I have suggested is that we should educate the public as it relates to the land driver program now, that you have to be computer literate before you could sit the exam. So when you are doing your publication, you could let them know that this is the way the exam is going now, electronically, we have to do it on a computer, So have yourself educate in computer so that you'll be allowed to see the exam until other system is put in place.
All right. Arjun John is asking how soon, and you know you mentioned as early, you give a date in April. If you can reiterate how soon, especially for Region 4 at the Zara Center, how soon will this be on line that they could be able to, sorry, not online, that they can be able to access doing their
tutorial?
The tutorials
from
and
the
their
4th.
exams. From the
tutorial
4th.
from the 4th, exams the 14th.
So, from the
And
4th.
right, and exams, we're going to do exams from the 14th every working day.
Monday to Friday.
Right, as I mentioned earlier, we want the amount of packets sold for the year. If we will complete them in April, that's okay.
Alright, so again, the person who might have bought a package for October, if it is that they so like to come.
Come, attend the tutorial, and we bring you on the list for the next day.
Next day. Awesome, awesome. And this is going to help to remove a lot of the backlog.
They definitely will reduce the backlog and any suspicion of corruption and person health in persons.
Traffic Chief, I want to say thanks a lot about this in terms of clearing up what is happening with the Learner Driver program. Just before you go, I wanted to be able to hear from you whether it is that you'd like to make a quick appeal or address to persons who are currently using our roadways. Just over last weekend, we would have had a couple of fatalities. One of the things that you did address at the program last weekend, which is in the National Road Safety Council, you addressed the issue that many of the accidents are happening due to persons not wearing, especially cyclists, not wearing helmets, consuming alcohol and driving, and not actually adhering to the 5 C's. It is something that you constantly been saying to persons. But what are some of the measures you're seeking to put in place so that we could reduce accidents on our roadways?
Stan, if you look at our accident figure for last year, is actually over 2 or 3 decades we did have that figure. It was 87 accidents with 99 deaths. But so far for the year, how it is going, we in the Guyana Police Force Traffic Department are working to continue to reduce it. If we could reduce it 2022 lower than 2021. But it takes each and every one of us to use the road with care, observe all the traffic rules and regulations, observe the 5 C's. Time and again, you will on air, in the print media, we will be doing educational program, advising motorcycles, wear your safety helmet, wear the correct safety helmet, do not wear the pedal helmet, strap your helmet under your cheek. The strap is for a purpose, that is for the protection of your head. Don't ride in and out of traffic. One of the issues now with all road drivers is this electronic bike. And as I mentioned earlier, I am in constant engagement with GRA to have this bike registered, that we could put some system in place as it relates to documentation. And as soon as GRA so register this bike and classify it, we, the police, will implement the necessary system, whether you have to have driver's license, insurance, fitness, and so on. On the other hand, drivers need to adhere to the speed limit and understand the road conditions. Even though an area is 50 or 60 kilometers, which you could drive on a dry day, you cannot drive the same speed on a wet day. As drivers, you should know where there is danger and potential danger. And danger is like wrong Starbrook Market area where you see people. Potential danger is that you're approaching a school, you're approaching a pedestrian crossing. You have to be on the lookout that someone is there to cross the road. Pedecyclists, same goes to pedecyclists. Don't ride more than 2 abreast. Don't ride in and out of the traffic. Equip yourself with a cycle helmet. Your bike should be fitted with belt brakes and light. Reflector at the back, especially for the night. Wear light color clothing. Pedestrians, when using the road, you do not do that heedless to traffic. You need to observe the curve drill. Even though you are at a pedestrian crossing, you have to observe the curve drill. You have to realize that vehicle need time to stop. And you cannot judge the speed of an oncoming vehicle. Let we look at the East Bank and the East Coast. The road has been wider now. So when you are accustomed to dash across a 20 feet road, now it's 40 and 60 feet. So use the pedestrian crossing. When you meet to the center of the road, between the median, you could stop there again and further observe the traffic on the next lane. On the East Bank, the 3rd lane is in the morning coming down north, and in the afternoon reserve going south. So if you're crossing the road from either side, east or west, you still have to look both sides. Remember, the 3rd lane is that a lane is going up the other way. So if you're accustomed that vehicle only traveling north, it is not so in the peak hours. You have to look both sides. So you might see here the northern side clear and you run across, but we come in on the southern side. Right. Lorries on the East Bank, the line is clear. Keep to the left on the hand side of the road. Reduce your speed, whether by day or night, reduce the speed. Leave early, arrive on time.
One of the campaigns that you have been constantly doing, not only in Georgetown but across the country, has to do with these white lights, which pose the danger to other drivers, especially coming in the opposite direction. I want you to be able to address this, because some people, their only concern is that their vehicle looks fancy driving on the roadway, and they've got these bright lights at night. How does it really affect a driver coming in the opposite direction?
Stan, when you look at the attitude and culture of our road users, each and every person tells themselves they are superior to each other. In terms of vehicle and status. We need to change our attitude, and that will take us a far way as it relates to road carnage and lawlessness. Our law is clear that you must care at least 2 white lights to the front of your vehicle. But notwithstanding, as you mentioned, you will find some of these pickup lorries putting on these big beam lights, extra light at the top. But that should be for the interior purpose, the lane and highway, the trails. When you meet onto the public road where there is other road users using the road, you are required to take them off. Because those lights blinds you coming in the opposite direction. And to drivers who are being blinded by this bright light, there's lights clear, pull on to the left near a car and stop. Pull to the near a corner road and stop. You cannot proceed if you're not seen. And you should, in the night, you should also drive at a speed to where light is reflecting. If a light is reflecting 20 feet, drive at 20 miles. So you could be able to bring your vehicle at a stop.
Right. Does this mean that we perhaps might have to have some sort of re-education, or bring back some of the people who already are licensed?
We got to implement the program. But if you look at our program, we have an education program where we deal with private public transportation companies, all these big companies. We go and train them, banks, DDL, Jan Finance and all these companies, we train constantly, GT&T, Guyana and so on. But I say all that is our attitude.
Another one of the attitudes that I notice is a lot of people are picking up, especially motorcycles. We would have had for the year, I think it, if you can recall, I think it's 2 or 3 incidents of unlicensed drivers who are riding vehicles. It's like they just can't seem to wait to be licensed. So they are actually going out on the road.
That's why we at the Guyana Police Force, we implement a system years gone by that before you could acquire professional driver's license, you have to attend the learner driver program and be successful at the theoretical exam. Then you could be issued a provisional license. But still, as you mentioned earlier, you still find defaulters. Drivers just feel, or persons just feel that they could ride a motorcycle without a license. But on a day-to-day basis, if you observe our traffic headquarters, we keep exercising against these. And if you look at the headquarters compound, it speaks for itself with motorcycle that is there.
Finally, what would you say to, what appeal would you give to all those persons who are using our roadways? And I know you did mention reduce speed and that kind of thing, but in terms of being able to control and bring down our manageable number of road accidents, what appeal would you give to the public?
By appeal to all road users, use the road with care. Especially driver observe the 5 C's. Be on the lookout for other road users. Be your brother's keeper. If you're a driver and you see your fellow driver commit a traffic infringement, be man enough to tell him that you have just jumped the traffic light, you just failed to stop at this intersection. Right? Time and time again, you should tell him, look, these are the errors that we are making and causing accident. Accidents is not just loss of life, it's damage to property, more expense on the government as it relates to the medical facilities.
Of course, Mr. Ashram, Traffic Chief, I want to say thank you for spending some time with us on the Police and You and sharing some information here about our new system where persons can become certified faster, and your timely advice and appeal for persons to adhere to the 5 C's of road use. Thanks for spending some time with us.
Thanks, Stan, it's a privilege.